8 o'clock.
All right, so it looks like we're live. Welcome to Friday morning. We love Fridays, right? End of a week, beginning of a weekend. Hope yesterday was good. Hope it was great. I hope tomorrow's even better. Today, though, we're going to talk about how to win the day. So here's what I want to talk about. When I was growing up, and I'm still growing up, and my dad is still with me. Lost my mom a little while ago. Well, my dad never gave me career advice other than work hard, right? Save a few bucks, work hard, you'll be fine, okay? And as great as that advice is, it's lacking. Leaves me wanting more, okay? And now I'm getting to the point where I'm on the back part of my career. I'm 58 years old. I'll probably, I kind of enjoy what I'm doing right now, but who knows? Tomorrow's a new day. But I'm anticipating another probably 10, 15 years maybe of still doing some version of whatever it is I'm doing. But at some point, I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to get retirement. I'm going to get Social Security. I'm going to have to deal with Medicare or Medicaid, or I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like wealth building. I don't know. So I'm looking around trying to find somebody who knows, and it's hard. It's weird. People don't like to talk about money. They apparently don't want to talk about retirement, and pretty much anybody I know, they won't tell me because I'm pretty confident they don't have a plan. They're either already significantly wealthy and it doesn't matter, they're going to have plenty, or they're at the other end where they're significantly out of luck and they just don't want to face it. I think that's a lot of folks. I don't know if it's you or anybody. So I was talking to Jeff about this because he's living it right now. He's in it. Is that fair to say, Jeff?
Yes, early stages.
Yeah, right. And I'm in the getting ready to be ready stages. Destiny, you got a ways to go. Now, here's the win, though. The biggest winner in all this is you, Destiny, because time is the greatest asset we all have. Mm-hmm. And you have more of that. You're the richest one on this call with regard to time. And that's a very cool place to be. But if you don't have a plan, I don't know, let me ask, do you have a plan, Destiny, for when you stop working?
Nope.
No, right?
Not yet.
No, but you should.
Mm-hmm.
And after today, you'll have at least some knowledge of it. So that's cool. So let me just start with this. In my view, and Jeff, just jump in whenever you think, but in my view, it's as easy as this, or as hard as this. How much is it going to cost you to live once you stop earning income? What's it going to cost? What's your budget? Are you going to have a house payment, a rent payment, a mortgage payment, something? Where's it paid for? I don't know. Figure it out in your mind. It might be hard to fast forward 30 years, but I don't know. Are you going to have some sort of insurance or medical? Are you going to have to pay your kids? Food, shelter. Are you going to travel and have fun?
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have to create some sort of a budget. Now, the budget's going to change. It can be an expanding and growing and changing things, no doubt, depending on your interests and your position in life. But create some sort of. And one way you might want to do it is, I currently live on I make $100,000 a year, and I'm comfortable. And if I can have the same comfort once I stop working, earning income, is that good? If it is, all right, your number's 100,000. If no, I need a little bit more, well, then you're gonna need a little bit more, okay? So I'm gonna tell you a couple other things, then we'll get into what Jeff's actually living. Financial experts, whoever that is, say you need probably 10 to 12 years of money. And the reason why is in the United States, the typical male works until they're 62 years old, and they live until they're 74. All right. The typical female woman, same 62, but they live until they're 79. So you're gonna need a few more bucks if you're gonna live and not outlive your money. Okay. So you gotta be aware of that. You gotta be aware. And I know it's morbid and all that, and Oh, I don't want to talk about dying and all that stuff. Well, really what you're talking about is living and what you're going to be living like once you stop bringing money in. So let's just say it's 100 grand for ease of sake, right? The next question I would have then is, where is your money going to be coming from? Walmart, because you're a greeter. All right, there's 20 grand. So now you need 80 grand. Social Security, all right, there's 30 grand. Okay, so now I need 50,000. I got some money saved. Okay, now I need 45,000 a year. Whatever. All those type of things. You got to go through that little bit of exercise. Where's your money going to come from? Jeff, walk us through what tell me what it's like to be entering into this. What are you learning?
Okay. I thought about this, and I don't know what the word is, battled in my mind over the unknowns of this. But so I would say, make it exactly what you just said. Make it as simple as possible so that you can let yourself step into it and become aware of what it's going to look like. And then the most important thing is do something. It probably took me 10 years, and I'm not a financial planner or anything like that. So go see those guys if you want the detail. But I'm just saying, most people are afraid of it. They don't want to venture into it until they're forced to. And therefore, they don't plan for it, don't react, don't take advantage of the time value of the money that you can grow. So what you said is 100% accurate. And the numbers are pretty good too, actually. 3,000 Social Security. Do that math.
So let me ask you, Jeff, Social Security, how much roughly would one expect to get from Social Security?
Yeah, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000
a month.
Yeah, you might get a little more than that.
24 to 36,000. So use 30K. I'm going to get somewhere around 30 grand, hopefully. Maybe you want to err on the bottom side. I'm going to get 20 grand.
Okay.
All right. So let's say you need 100 to live the life you want to live.
That's a good number too to work with. Very good.
And things change. You got to build in inflation because it's going to cost, your bread's going to be $700 a loaf. And by the time you retire or whatever, depending on when it is. But just think about in today's money. And if you attach your wealth strategy to an asset that appreciates with inflation, you'll be fine because it'll go in lockstep and you'll be fine. So just be a little bit careful. All right, so 100,000. We're going to pull in, let's say 25,000 from Social Security. But here's the thing. When does Social Security kick in, Jeff? Do you know?
Well, it's based on your age, and
it's optional, right?
It keeps escalating. Yeah, you can choose not to retire, but it's right now it's 65, but or 66.
So if you're going to retire at 62, you're 3 years without Social Security.
You can draw early. You can draw early and take less.
But if you draw early, you're going to take less, and if you draw later, if you wait, you can take more.
Right.
So that would be a strategy.
You start receiving the papers from the Social Security people. I don't know what age, maybe 50 something, that says based on your current income and all the statistics they have, you're at this age, you'll get this much money. You'll start receiving those once a year. Yeah. I think it's in your 50s.
I think the U.S. government has it worked out. You're going to live 12 years.
Yeah.
And that's what they're hoping for. If you die sooner, they win. If you live longer, they take it on the chin. All right, so you're going to get some Social Security, at least I've been hearing Social Security is going to be dead here at some point, but
yeah,
I've been hearing that for my whole life, right?
Yeah.
So at any rate,
political suicide if you were to eliminate that, people.
Right. Well, yeah, this is Social Security is the primary for most people. Okay, so let's say you're going to save some money. Let's say you're going to save, I don't know, or you got an IRA, a 401k, you got something. And when you choose to stop working, let's just say you have $100,000 in there. Is that a fair assumption? That might be low, might be high for some. I don't know.
That'd be fair for most.
For most, or even if you're a realtor, right? All right. So let's say you're going to live 20 years. So you take 100 grand divided by 20 years. That gives you $5,000 a year. now you're going to get appreciation on your money or whatever. All that's going to appreciate in value. All that's cool. But so is that's going to go up probably around 5%. Inflation is going to be about 3%. So you're going to have about 2% of your money. So you're going to have now you got about 30 grand coming in because you have a 401k and some savings. And then let's say you have about the same in savings, not even a 401k. You get another 5 grand. So now you're up to 30. You're 70,000 short. Where's that 70K going to come from?
So that becomes the issue. You either have, and this is what we talk about on this show, is investing in real estate. So you're not going, it is unlikely, my father did, but it is unlikely that you're going to save enough money from your salary to create the wealth that you're going to need to live 20 years in retirement or 30.
If that's the case, you want 100,000, you're going to need about $1.4 million in savings.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you've got to get going with something. Either you're buying rental properties or you're investing in the stock market. Tons of books on it.
Stock.
What's that?
A dividend paying stock.
Well, there's two ways to go. That's what I'm working on right now, actually. There's two ways to go. So what I'm doing is you set up dividend stocks and then you have growth stocks. So growth, we'll call them tech stocks. So like Microsoft, Google, you have those. NVIDIA right now is the hot topic because they're going up so much. So anyway, you have those stocks that are growing for you, and then you have dividend stocks. So then what you do is you create, let's say you have an E-Trade account, which is what I have, and then you have a checking account attached to your E-Trade account, and then the dividends that you receive quarterly funnel into the checking account, and then you use that money to pay your bills. And then the growth stocks, you know, if you start out with, I don't know, pick a number, 50 grand invested in a stock, and that thing grows to 55 or 60, you can pull the growth off of it, never touch the goose that laid the golden egg. You don't touch the basis, but you can pull off the high side number and use that to pay your bills and live on, go on vacation too.
Okay, so let me just clean that up a little bit.
Go ahead.
You invest enough in the stock market that it throws off enough cash every year to cover your living expenses without selling the stock. You're just not the dividend or whatever cash throw off.
Dividends, yeah, they pay all different numbers, but we have a rule like it's 5% or more. We don't invest in anything that has less than a 5% because you can get that around CDs. That's safer than the stock market. So higher dividends quarterly. So they pay a percentage quarterly. That's it. And you just funnel that money into your check.
Okay, so let's keep this thing simple. You got 25 grand coming from Social Security. You got an IRA or something that's going to throw off another 5,000. You have a savings account that's going to throw off another 5,000. It's 35. You're $65,000 short. Where's that money going to come from? Well, you can have a part-time job. I know people that work at golf courses, just kind of an easy job. That's probably going to pay another $25,000, but you're still working. But, you know, it's a fairly easy job. And now you're down to maybe...
It might keep you young because you're engaged on some level.
Maybe, right? Something like that. A job you truly enjoy. Now you need another 40 grand. Where's that going to come from? So it may come from your stock market. All right, by investing, you have to have some sort of cash flow, passive income situation set up. And the sooner you set that up, the better off you're going to be, right? If you bought a house or a real estate property today with the idea in 30 years it's going to be paid for by someone else, a renter, such that in 30 years when you retire, now you have this full-on cash flow. And that cash flow might be 40 grand coming from that property. There's your makeup. Maybe you have 2 properties that you're able to invest in between now and the rest of your life, sooner being better than later. Maybe your cash flow is higher than that. I've got several properties where we have a lot where we're sitting fine, okay? But I know most people don't. And quite honestly, I wish I would have started this when I was your age, Destiny, or even younger. Julie, you got anything on this?
One thing I would say is, of course, I agree that the best thing to do, especially when you're young, is to invest in real estate. Buy whatever you can afford, save until you can afford something, and slowly pay it off and collect rent. But there are a couple of hacks, especially for young people. You can buy life insurance that you can pull off of, and the younger you are, the cheaper it is. So my kids are 19, 23, and 30, and I had them all buy life insurance policies so that by the time that they're 30 or 40, they're all going to be millionaires, and if something were to happen, they can borrow against themselves.
Yep.
The other thing is IRAs and SEPs. If you have a job, you're stupid not to 100% fund an IRA and get, especially if there's company matching, that's free money. So do that. SEPs are for people who don't have IRAs. That's your own IRA, if you will. There are maxes, and I'm not an expert on any of this, but invest in that because that money grows. The most important thing an important thing to remember, something that you said, John, is, if inflation is historically 2-3%, 8-10% in the last period of time, you have to remember that if you just stick your money in savings, there's a hole in the bucket. So if you have 100,000 in savings and inflation is 8%, a year from now you have 92 grand. So you have to have something that at least stays ahead of inflation, and to stay at zero. So, but as young people, get some life insurance. Do some research in that. Get some.
It's relatively inexpensive.
What?
But it's relatively inexpensive. Everything's relatively inexpensive.
It's super cheap when you're young, and you can borrow against that. And God forbid something happens to you, you're covered. You're covered. So do that. But obviously, number one is real estate, hands down. But these are all the other cheap options that are long-term, plan ahead things. Life insurance is an easy
Destiny,
one.
how old are you going to be in 30 years?
Ooh, 70.
70. So are you going to work until you're 70? Is that your plan?
I hope not.
All right. So let's say you work until you're 60. You have 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wish I had 20 years. What you should do, let's help Destiny with her destiny.
Set up a trust.
Right? What you're going to want to do is start feeding an IRA, some sort of amount up to $6,000 a year, if you can. Right? I would do that.
Fully fund it.
Yep. And then the money after that, personally, I would start saving for my first property.
Mm-hmm.
And I would start looking for that first property right now. And remember, that first property doesn't have to be a 10-bedroom Gulf front mansion. It needs to be something that pays for itself and maybe even a little extra that's going to go up in value over time. All right? Then you can either sell, cash out, and buy the next thing, or keep and lever it such that in 20 years your renters have paid for it and it's just one of your sources of money. So start saving for that. Once you put a certain amount of money into that, and that can be unlimited, I like the insurance situation. Okay? First things first, make sure you insure your house where you're living, your cars, and yourself. Right? And then once you get all that, you can buy life insurance, all that kind of stuff.
Life insurance is cheap. The younger you are, the cheaper it is.
Yeah. But you know what's expensive? Healthcare bills if you don't have the right insurance, or car pile-ups if you don't have the right insurance. Make sure you're protected in that way, right? One, you want to make money, and two, you want to keep your money. So I would do both those things, even if it's $100 a month into each of those buckets, which is nothing except over 50 months, some number of months, it starts to add up. In your first property, again, I would not be looking for the Mac Daddy huge rental. Just find something that gets you started. You know who's doing great at that, I think, is Victoria. Doesn't she have one or two or something?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're not matches. but I bet she's also quite grateful she has them both. So do that, because I absolutely promise that time from when you're 40 to when you're 60 looks more like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? It goes fast. And
John.
yeah,
Well, the book "The Richest Man in Babylon" by George Clason, I'd recommend getting it. It's get into the discipline, no matter how small, of paying yourself first, because there's enough stuff that gets lost in the cushions between, your couch cushions of your life, that slips out just by creep spend. And so if you set aside every check that comes in, just don't touch it. Set aside 100, set aside that $50, and it will be there. Just don't touch it. Then you'll look up over time and you're not always spending. Mark it to a percentage so that as your income grows, that percentage is still coming out. You're learning to live on. I think Jim Rohn said, give 10% away, 10% into active capital, and 10% into passive. So that's your Roth IRA, 10% looking for business opportunity that could be real estate, and 10% to charity, and learn to live on 70%. You do that over time.
live below your means.
Yeah.
Bianca, very good. Putting money in a high yield savings account. Love it. I think you can get almost 5, if not more than 5 right now.
Another good book is The Latte Factor, Latte. What's his name? Bach. Can't remember his first name. But that basically is the same concept. Richest Man in Babylon is a very quick, easy, tiny book that is just easy. But Latte Factor brings it current to, how much are you spending on coffee today, tomorrow? How much are you spending on donuts vending? Take that money and put it into savings, life insurance, whatever it is.
Love it.
I'm also, I've read one, not the other, but here's what I know for absolutely certain, because I'm living it. In my mind, for the longest time, I didn't put anything away because, one, I didn't think it would matter. $200, $200, I can blow that at the bar tonight. It doesn't matter. It matters. Just a little bit here and there, it matters. So yeah, if I could have had a mature conversation with myself when I was your age, Destiny, or maybe even younger is better, right? It all matters. $10 might be a cheeseburger, but it's also $10 every day over a period of time. It matters. Mm-hmm. It's a maturity level. Don't let yourself talk yourself into, I've been saving my butt off and I only have $400. Don't. You already have 400. That's really good.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't let yourself talk yourself into, I'm going to make a lot of money here in the coming years and I'll triple my efforts then and make up for it. You don't get to make up for it. That time's gone. You're better off putting a little bit in now all the time than you are a lot later. So have a mature conversation with yourself, with your kids. If you're fortunate enough to have extra money for your kids, start putting money away for them right now, even if it's $10 a month. Right?
And John, I would say the younger you are, I'm coaching a young man, 19 years old, really sharp, diligent, disciplined young man. And he's got an opportunity to buy a business from somebody who admires his young work ethic and owner finance that business. And this business is worth $4 million. And this man says, I'm going to bet on you. And he goes, I'm worried about the risk. I said, the owner's financing it. He's betting on you. And I said, do not be distracted by these, because he had an offer for a pretty decent income because he's an exceptional young man. I said, that's an income. Take this opportunity. And there are like millions of retiring baby boomers that own businesses. If you're younger and you've got a strong work ethic, they'll own or finance because their kids don't want the business and nobody will pay upfront cash. So look for those opportunities.
Absolutely. Those people are going to be all right. Guys like him are going to be fine. I'm worried about the ones that are kind of in the middle, that want to do something, not sure what to do, know they should, but just don't know where to go. So if that's you, just start saving a few bucks now in such that in 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, it'll grow into a mountain.
Yeah.
Einstein said compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and that is absolutely true. Just go find an account somewhere. That's such a throw-off thing. Go find an account somewhere. No, go. You can go online, do ChatGPT or whatever. Type in ETFs. How to sign up for an ETF. If you don't want to do that, go to an Edward Jones, Raymond James, and anything, and tell them I want to start saving money. All right, they'll help you. And just direct deposit $50 a month, whatever you can afford into that. And then start thinking about businesses, like Mark said, or buying real estate if you can. There's no even if, when you can. Just start saving a few bucks and start studying how to do that. And what I want you to think about is this. Am I going to have a mortgage payment, a house payment, a rent payment, whatever? If I am, how much will that be? And you can just kind of take what you have now and just kind of level it out. How much is it going to cost to travel the world, to do things? How much is it going to be now? Because your income's going to go up almost proportionally, hopefully, to what it's going to cost. And you can factor in some of inflation and stuff. Be careful with lifestyle creep, though. That's a different thing. We're just going to figure out to live a life that I want. I want to eat at home or out for dinner. I want to go to movies. I want to have fun. I don't want to feel stressed, whatever. That's going to cost me X.
Yeah.
So how do I make sure I have X plus 1 coming in?
And there are hacks when you sit there and you say you're denying yourself. I mean, instead of spending a ton of money at the movie theater buying their snacks, I go to Walgreens and stuff them in my purse. I still do that today.
Yep.
I buy coffee and avoid Starbucks. I'm still
We do
doing that today. Do it now and put that money into an account.
Yeah, it's just a mental maturity thing. You'll get there. And here's the thing: most people just don't know. They just don't know. I kind of knew. He was out there. Yeah, you should save for. But my attitude was, one, I'm going to make a lot of money later, and I'll catch up.
I thought that.
I never do. You didn't. You never catch up. That's gone.
No, or everybody says, I'm going to work until I'm dead.
I'll work till I'm dead. That's all really.
Guess what? You're slowing down. You get tired. That's true.
Yeah, you get tired.
I'm tired. I don't want to.
You don't see it coming, and it shows up one day. But here's even a basic, and we're getting late here. Don't rent. I rented way too long. You got to buy your first house. And an uncomplicated plan a friend of mine did is when he stayed in the same area in Texas, Houston. And so he never, when he outgrew his house, kids, whatever, he kept his house and rented his primary residence and bought another one. That's uncomplicated. So if you're renting, man, buying a house is for savings for sure, but it could be tight for you. But do that first. Then maybe every 2 years, look at buying another primary residence, get a better loan rate, easier, and you could keep them all. And that's what he did.
Agreed. Better to downsize and live in a studio that you own than to live in a 4-bedroom with a pool that you're paying someone else's mortgage. Buy your own property.
All right. So you're right. We're getting along. We're going ahead and cut this off today. It's Friday.
Yay.
Win for yourself today so you can go home feeling good about things. And maybe that win is simply thinking about what your life's going to look like in 25, 30 years, 10 years, 15 years. Hey, here, I'm going to cap this too, though. You're not too old. It's not too late. Start yesterday. If you're not starting yesterday, start today. Even if you're 55 or whatever, you only got 10 years or whatever. Start. You're 10 years from now, self will thank you. Promise. And then the last thing, I found it's way easier once you get going than you thought it would be. And it adds up faster than you ever thought it would.
Yep, it's contagious. It becomes fun, and it's a game, and then you create these goals, and you're going for it.
Yep. But don't wait. The one thing, if I could have started earlier, I would have, and I could have.
Now, start today.
Yep. Okay, so take that, guys, and win the day with that. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Good stuff, guys. Bye-bye.